Let's stay in Europe, but move east. Russian President Vladimir Putin has announced a three-day truce starting from midnight, May the 8th. The Kremlin has said that Putin ordered a full cessation of hostilities to mark the 80th anniversary of Russia's Victory Day, which falls on May the 9th. Russia called on Ukraine to join the truce and added that there would be an adequate and effective response if Ukraine violates the ceasefire. In response, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy said that the world did not want to wait until May the 8th. In his nightly address, he called for a full and unconditional ceasefire for at least 30 days to provide a basis for real diplomacy. Let's take a look at what the Ukrainian president had to say.
Ми ще 11 березня відповіли позитивно на саме американську пропозицію повної тиші. Ми запропонували своє у двосторонньому порядку Росії припинити удари щонайменше по цивільних об'єктах, хоча б по них. Запропонували також зробити повним і продовжувати на 30 днів припинення вогню на Великдень. Росія постійно все це відкидає і маніпулює світом. Намагається обманути Сполучені Штати. Зараз от знов чергова спроба маніпуляцій. Чомусь всі повинні чекати 8 травня. І тільки тоді припиняти вогонь, щоб забезпечити Путіну тишу на час параду. Ми цінуємо життя людей.
Ukrainian Foreign Minister Andriy Sybiha also supported Zelenskyy, stating on social media platform X that if Russia truly wants peace, it should cease fire immediately and did not want to wait until May the 8th. This comes after US Secretary of State Marco Rubio held new talks with Russian counterpart Sergei Lavrov, having declared that this will be a crucial week in a US decision on whether to halt its peace efforts. Meanwhile, Trump has said that he thought Zelenskyy was ready to give up Crimea, though the Ukraine leader has ruled out this several times. Russia said that it was ready to negotiate directly with Ukraine, but recognition of its claims over Ukrainian regions, including Crimea, were imperative to resolving the conflict. Reportedly, Ukraine has denounced Russia's annexations as an illegal land grab and says it will never recognize them. Zelenskyy said that week that Ukraine would not legally recognize any temporarily occupied territories and has previously called Moscow's demand for Kiev to demilitarize as incomprehensible. Moreover, France's President Emmanuel Macron has announced that Western nations would increase pressure on Russia over the next 10 days, and next 2 weeks would be crucial in trying to start a ceasefire. Macron also said that he had urged Trump in a recent discussion to be tougher with the Russian president. We are joined by Rohan Gunaratne, international affairs expert, to discuss this in more detail. Thank you, Rohan, for joining us. I first want to focus on this proposed ceasefire by Russian President Vladimir Putin. And given that Russia's Easter ceasefire collapsed within hours, what, if anything, makes this 72-hour pledge more credible to outside observers?
Thomas, President Trump has given a very clear warning to the president of Russia and also to Zelenskyy that both of them have to agree to his suggestions. Otherwise, he has threatened to walk out of this negotiation, being a mediator. So I believe that both Putin and Zelenskyy will agree to a ceasefire. Certainly, Trump himself wants a longer ceasefire, not a short ceasefire. So I believe that there is all the possibility, the likelihood that the Russians and the Ukrainians will work together on this occasion.
Yes, and Professor Gunaratne, Secretary of State Marco Rubio has called this a crucial week for US peace efforts. What leverage can Washington still exert if Kiev dismisses the offer and Moscow refuses to a longer pause?
Russia has greater capabilities and capabilities that can sustain the war. So it is in the interest of Ukraine, but also it is in the interest of Russia to agree, because Putin and Trump, they have a rapport. And if Trump walks out of this, certainly the Americans can support Ukraine in the fight, and he doesn't want that to happen. So it is very likely that both these parties will come together.
Yes, and finally, given this 3-day window is primarily designed to secure a trouble-free victory parade in Moscow rather than create space for substantive diplomacy, is that possibly what Putin is thinking?
You are right, Thomas, because 3 days is not sufficient to have sustained negotiations. And I think that the world understands that. Putin also is aware of it. And that is why I think that this is a great moment for both parties to come together to work out a more durable, more sustainable ceasefire, truce that will lead to permanent peace.
Professor Rohan Gunaratne, thank you very much for joining us. We now move back over to North America.